good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. This morning, as we continue our conversation, we are chatting about the budget review. Now, if you know that on Monday, the Chief Secretary went to the House and he presented the budget for fiscal 2024-2025. And this morning, as we chat a bit about that, we're talking with the political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Mr. Watson Duke. Good morning and welcome to Tobago Updates.
Good morning, and Tobago, good morning.
All right, so you have now become a weekly staple. Thank you for coming on.
And for TV health.
Well, we look forward to this discussion this morning. Now, we've all paid attention to that budget that was presented, and in this particular one, the theme of the budget was unlocking Tobago's development potential. We saw a focus there on the human capital development. Tell us a bit about your overall perspective on the theme that was presented and, well, the whole development direction in regards to putting most of the attention and resources into developing Tobagonians at an individual level.
This budget was an afterthought. This budget does not show the level of preparation that any executive must make to lead a country. This is what I call VOOPs, VOOPsing and VADAM, or what we call a blind shot. Look at the presentation. Have you seen the presentation of the book? You see how it looks? It can't even close. Watch. It's open like this. Let me get my camera. This is the book. This book is not complete. There is no professionalism in the presentation of this book. That budget caught them blindsided. It's like they were busy looking for oil money and all that kind of thing to play with, and all of a sudden they recognize the budget is coming up. There is not one picture demonstrating any kind of work they would have done or anything they would have developed. There is not one graph in this budget, not one pie chart in this budget. Is this a book that you are presenting to the nation about what their future looks like? Does it look so plain? So disjointed? So I am taken aback by the presentation of the book. Where the theme is concerned, unlocking Tobago's development potential, I think they need to unlock their potential first, because they have potential, but apparently they do not know how to maximize their own potential. So they have been bringing Tobago bad light. Everything they touch turns to stone. Everything they touch. Imagine they would have left here before the budget, going to Ghana, so they're going to get investors in Ghana to invest in the quarry. How long it take them to understand that the quarry needs investing? All right? But then what worries me even further, in the budget, they are now coming to talk as if the quarry is a new project. They're going to buy 2 new plants and a concrete plant to get the things going. After we had about 100 truckers parking up 3 o'clock in the morning just to get one load of stuff. There are many homes right now that have to halt construction in this rainy season because there is no stuff in the quarry. They have had that quarry for over 2 years or going to 3 years. And now they are saying they now know they want a new plant, a new concrete plant. They woke up one morning and wrote this book. I'm telling you that. And they went by some bad press who just stick a duty cover on it, and they put a rusty key and say unlocking Tobago's development potential. There's nothing in this that speaks about the island of Tobago, where is that, and our potential. If you're talking potential, you have to see where you are, because what you have, and where you want to go. Then you marry the two. That is what we call the potential to get from here to there, to get from a stage where we have little resources to develop into an economy, to a place where we have a full developed economy with all the resources, little as they be, that we have. They have not done that.
Right, and how do you feel about the request of 3.956 billion as opposed to the usual request of about, 4.5?
Well, the first year in 2022, the chief secretary requested $3.97 billion. Mark the figures there. In 2023 budget, I should say, in the 2023 budget, he requested $3.9 billion. In 2024 budget, he requested $4.5 billion. In this budget, he now requests $3.95 billion. Here's the catch. You are claiming in your book of lies, book of deceit, that you will be writing to the Constitution Committee and you will be asking for 8% of the national budget for Tobago. In 2023-2024, in the budget presentation, they asked for the maximum allowable under the Dispute Resolution Committee. And I'm going slow because sometimes I want to make sure everyone understands. All right, so let me backtrack a bit and say, some years ago, under Hochoy Charles, they went to what they call a Dispute Resolution Committee because there was a dispute between what Tobago should have and what Trinidad should give to Tobago. Coming out of that dispute, that official body, by law, made a recommendation or made a ruling that Tobago should get between 4.03 to 6.9% of the budget. Since then, we have been getting around 4.03 of the budget or 4.30 around of the budget. However, Mr. Augustine stated that he estimated the national budget to be this, and so therefore 6.9 of that budget will give us 3.97 billion in 2023. Last year, he estimated $65 billion, and 6.9% of that budget is going to land it as 4.5. This year, he estimates the budget to be $6.5 billion, but yet he's asking for 5.8%. Why the reduction of what he's asking for? It says to me that this fellow does not know what he's doing. If you are asking for the maximum allowable percentage under the Dispute Resolution Commission, right? Then you ought to ask, maintain the highest ask. If it's 6.9, maintain your 6.9. Why are you lowering your expectations and desiring to do more? In addition to that, why is it that you are saying you want to ask for more money, 8%, but yet you are asking for less than the maximum allowable limit? 6.9. Sounds confusing.
Don't you think that based on history, I mean, you would have said it in your press conference last week in regards to a deficit budget.
That's right.
Right? Now, based on history, isn't it wise for them to place their expectations at a place that would allow them to plan for what they realistically can see themselves getting, as opposed to continuing to ask the central government for a particular allocation and only getting a fraction of what they're requesting?
Agreed, but it is things that people do when they want to steal. When you want to steal, you do not give account. So you claim big figures, and when the money comes, you say, well, we don't have enough money, so we can't do any work. Nonsense. Hogwash, I call it. Let me go further to say this. Had they been a real serious teacher, this is what I expected from them. If you have $300 million as a development budget, you will take that money and you will develop Tobago with Tobagonians, ensuring that the $300 million, insofar as reasonable and practicable, remain within the domain of Tobago. What have they done? They have taken all of that money and sent that money back to Trinidad. And what do we get in Tobago? The crumbs. The $500 million project, $1 million project, and we say, whoa, it's money, it's no money. The $70 million project, the $20 million project, the $15 million project, the $10 million project goes to Trinidad. And I'm saddened by that because we are not being Tobago-centric. We are building the economy in Trinidad while destroying the economy in Tobago. They could have unlocked Tobago potential a long time, is what I'm saying. but they have been fiddling with this key, playing with it, wasting money, and inflating the figures. And when the real figures come, about $2.5 billion, they do not do a rebudget. They do not do a rebudget. And that's my problem. I'm saying anybody who's going to lead Tobago must deal with the reality apart from fiction. The reality is that you must come with a budget that says, based on the custom and practice, if we were to receive $2.5 billion, 300 of which is development expenditure, we would be able to do this. However, we'll be asking for this, and with the excess, we would be able to do these things. But these jokers inside there, there was some other colorful, but these people who are less than honest inside there, they do not do that. They give an inflated figure, and when they come back, they say you don't have enough money to run Tobago. Do the most with what you have, because right now we are running a deficit budget for the last, maybe since Tobago has been an assembly. And one of the things about self-determination is you being able to take what they give to you and turn it into gold. A mother will give a child $10 a day. That child must decide, look, at the end of the school term, I want to buy shoes. So from that, I will save $5 a day. But he will continue doing what needs to be done with $10. Maybe travel to work, travel to school, come back, taking the bus, catching a ride. He has to manage otherwise if he has to save. If we have to save money and develop a Tobago that's consistent with our expectations, a Tobago that's dynamic, that's well-resourced and has a proper, stable and growing economy, we have to take the money that we have and build. You do a little here and there, but this must be the big goal. Tobago must know this is what we want to achieve at the end of this year. This big thing, this big issue is what we want to achieve. They have not done that.
Have you had the opportunity to listen to Petal, the management accountant for the THA, discuss how the funds are dispersed from central government?
I didn't have to listen to Petal. The law states that at the beginning of every quarter, the central government should disburse all the funds into a special fund.
Right. But she would have indicated, although that is the law, that is not the practice. And because the releases come late, they often are faced with huge overdraft fees from the bank that end up cutting into the actual allocation that they're given.
But I don't know if that's poor accounting, and if that is so, they should fire themselves. Because you can't tell me the law states one thing. If it's plain law states something, if the law states something, this is this, and that is the law, and you consider yourself to be the government of Tobago, then if you are the government of Tobago, you must speak to the government of Trinidad and Tobago and say this is the law, and you must be prepared to go to court on that. I'm not buying into it that they are giving some lame excuse that it is cutting into funds and they have to. Time for excuses are over. Those who ask to manage, they must manage. And they must manage in the good times and the bad times. We want no silly excuses. Get the job done. That's what we're paying people to do. That's what we hire them to do. Get the job done. And if you have to go to Trinidad and take out a court matter and say, this is the law, then do a matter on that. That's a good case. Fight that case in the court. But don't just relax and say, well, we have to take it, and then you're going to make a war with the Prime Minister of central government and pretend as if you still want to be his friend and say he will not forgive you. Come on. You have made it bad for Tobagonians, and then are coming to say that the problem is central government. No, the problem is those who we have elected.
All right. And even in your opinion, what do you think the focus for this particular budget should have been?
Well, this budget should have focused totally and solely on Tobago's self-determination. Note the word I use, self-determination, right? And if we had done that, then it may be possible at the end of this year for us to get the self-determination. But this team that I have led for a short while, when they got in, they got crazy. All of a sudden, they wanted to fight for Tobago and self-determination. They were calling it autonomy, right? But it's self-determination. Yeah? They want to fight for Tobago, and as they got inside, that took a back seat to the fancy suit and the fancy hairdo and the travel here, travel there, big spending, etc. That Tobago self-determination has taken a backseat. Once we have our right to self-determine, Tobago would naturally be a better place. The amount of brains we have in Tobago and from the diaspora outside of Tobago, we could convert this place into a Monaco. We could convert this place into a Singapore, into a Dubai. We can convert this place into a Shanghai or some country in India, perhaps, a Delhi or whatever you want to call it. We can become one of the better places in the world because we have the brains to do it, we have the technical skills to do it, and now we have the freedom by which we could develop our own economy. Without self-determination, we must develop what Trinidad say to develop. And if Trinidad say plant banana, then the banana we must plant. We are still slaves. This is why I do not like autonomy. Autonomy is where you're begging for a measure of your rights. We want, the PDP wants self-determination, full rights. So while we are under a Trinidad and Tobago government, we are not under, but we are side of, a part of. It's a difference between being a part of and being under. We don't want to be under Trinidad and Tobago, which is a ward. We want to be a part of Trinidad and Tobago, which is an island of equal status with Trinidad.
All right. Well, all is not lost because this is just a estimated budget. So what advice do you have for this administration when they are allocated the budget for fiscal 2024-2025?
Don't spend a cent on call election. Let somebody else manage that money. We have seen how they have mismanaged money, and the best advice is when they get the money, lock the bank accounts, lock all the codes and call the election, and let Tobago decide who they want to manage that money. They are poor managers. They can't even manage themselves. They can't even manage their own party. Yeah? They're all about the place, washing the linens in the road and all kind of madness. They can't manage anything. They can't even build a foul cube and run a foul pen. But we have placed them over us. And it is hurtful to know that Tobagonians are brilliant and we're expecting more, but what they're giving us is chick feed. Now, let's make this one point, right? It's burning on my chest. When I hear my chief secretary came to the house and he's advertising for First Citizen Bank, I felt sad. Here we have our leader in Tobago, the chief secretary. He's tweeting the horn like one who is standing in the market side with a loud horn, saying, if you want a loan, go buy First Citizen Bank. But you must be qualified. And people are clapping to that. I know that they were a bunch of sellouts, slaves, serfs. They were not ready to lead. Because here we have First Citizen Bank, and we had promised the people a Tobago Development Bank. If there is no Tobago Development Bank, and you wanted to use First Citizen Bank, then you must say to Tobagonians, all persons who do not now qualify for a loan, we have a system that will make you qualify for a loan. All right? And as such, in the next upcoming months, we will roll out that system where the unqualified will be qualified, and we will help you manage your business so your business will become a success. People need to have business incubators in Tobago because most businesses die from the time they start because of the lack of management and support. They need to say that instead you come to us with a book of lies, a book of folly, saying to us, go to First Citizen Bank, go there for a loan, I'll get loan between $700 and $3 million, but make sure qualified. Nonsense. Hogwash.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on this morning, Mr. Duke. We do appreciate you being here, and we unfortunately have to end the conversation this morning. We want to thank each and every one of you for liking, sharing, and commenting, and doing all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Shenell Felix, and I want to thank you for being with me this morning. Have a great day.